Alright, so today I'm going to be showing you guys this 7'3" Victor Wembanyama build. Now, there's been a lot of hype around Victor over the past couple of weeks because of the preseason games, and he's been playing really well in all of them. So I wanted to finally make a new version of the Victor Wembanyama build, and I wanted to make it 7'3" because I haven't seen anybody else do it at that height yet. So that's what we got for you guys today, so let's get started. Alright, so like I mentioned in the intro, this build is going to be a center 7'3". We ended up going with a 230-pound weight and an 8'1" wingspan. Alright, so starting off with the finishing, we're going to have an 86 close shot, which is going to get you fearless finisher on gold as well as pro touch on Hall of Fame. Then we're going to have a 73 driving layup, which is really nice to have, a 75 driving dunk, which is going to get you access to a bunch of really great dunk packages. And then you're also going to get a 92 standing dunk, which is going to get you the elite big man standing contact dunks as well as gold rise up, gold fast twitch, and gold precision dunker. And then lastly, we have an 81 post control on this build, which is going to get you post spin technician on gold. Now listen, the finishing on this build is going to be pretty solid. Look at this, speed boosting straight towards the rim, and then we're getting that nice standing dunk. We didn't even have to meter dunk that one, but the standing meter dunks on this build are also going to be insane. And this build is just going to be a menace whenever you get near the basket because of that standing dunk and because of the standing meter dunks. Take a look at this right here in the post again, hit him with the post spin. We got him down in the dead zone, hit him with the standing meter dunk. And look at the size of that meter, bro. Any way that you could miss that, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I don't think I could ever miss that. But yeah, no, long story short, with this build, you're going to be a dominant force attacking the rim, especially when you're doing those standing dunks, but you can still drive to the basket too and get some really great dunk animations. Look at this right here, pick up the loose ball, and look at this dunk animation. All right, so now moving on to the shooting, we're going to pretty much max this out in both categories. We're going to have a 78 mid-range shot as well as a 73 three-point shot. Understand these numbers are actually pretty low, but with the jump shot that I'm going to be showing you guys later on in this video, you're not going to have any issue shooting on this build. Speaking of shooting, let's take a look at the shooting highlights on this build. Listen, man, you're going to be a knock down, catch, and shoot type of player on this build. Even with the 73 three-pointer with the jump shot I'm going to be giving you guys at the end of this segment, you're going to be a very consistent three-point shooter. It's not going to be that hard to shoot. And with that 78 midi, you can take a pretty decent amount of shots off the dribble as well. But let's talk about the shooting from the three-point line on this build. One thing that's going to definitely help you out a lot is make sure you're using jump shot boost when you're playing on this build. And secondly, make sure you always have your lethal shooting drills done for the two zones that you can get your lethal zones in. I actually have a lethal zone in the left corner, which is why you guys are seeing me spot up a lot from the left corner. It's also like my personal favorite spot to shoot from, but make sure you have your lethal zones done. Go to the art of shooting, get those done so you can get those lethal zones. It's going to help you hit shots so much easier from the zones that you end up picking. So yeah, make sure you get those lethal spots taken care of because they're definitely going to help you shoot, especially with the low three-point rating. Look at that, we're hitting fades out the corner on a 7'3" max wingspan build. Right here we got shooting takeover, we're spinning, shooting over multiple people. I'm telling you, man, this build is actually a lethal shooter if you know what you're doing, because you could pretty much shoot over everybody. There's not going to be anybody that is your height. The meta center height this year is 7'1", so it's going to be rare that you run into somebody who is just as tall as you, which means you could literally just shoot over anyone, including the person that is guarding you. Now, I can't show you guys all those shooting highlights without giving you guys the jump shot. The base is going to be Andre Drummond. The releases are going to be Tim Duncan and Sharon Jackson Jr. Max speed, the blend's going to be 58 to 42%. Now, this is not my own jump shot. I ended up finding this from a Joe Knows video, and I've pretty much been using it ever since then. It's one of my favorite jump shots to use this year. All right, so now moving on to the playmaking, you're going to get a 77 pass accuracy, which is going to be enough for bronze needle threader as well as break starter on silver, which is very nice to have on a big man build. And then when it comes to the pass styles that you do unlock, you can use John Morant or Domantas Sabonis, or just use none. But of those three, I think my personal favorite is actually Domantas Sabonis. All right, so now let's take a look at some of the playmaking highlights in this video. Obviously, you're going to be able to throw the breaks with this build. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be serviceable. That's what a silver badge is, man. You have that silver break starter. You'll be able to throw the break. Not going to be perfect. It's not like gold break starter. It's not like Hall of Fame break starter, but you can still do it. And then when you're in the half court set with this build, that 75 pass accuracy is definitely going to be perfectly fine. Obviously, again, 86 pass accuracy, 92 pass accuracy is better, but you can get the job done with a 77. And considering everything else you're getting on this build, having just a 77 pass accuracy isn't too bad when it comes to your playmaking. All right, so now moving on to the defense, we actually have a lot to talk about here. We're going to get an 82 interior defense, which is going to get you workhorse on gold, a 63 perimeter defense, and a 60 steal, which is going to get you bronze interceptor. And that's the nice thing about these max wingspan 7'3" centers, is that you can actually get bronze interceptor at this height, which when you combine that with an 8'1" wingspan, it's going to be pretty nasty when it comes to getting your off-ball steals. Then moving on to the block, you're going to get an 87, which is going to get you anchor on silver, 70 offensive rebound combined with an 83 defensive rebound, which will get you a silver rebound chaser. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that this is a Victor Wembanyama build. This is not a meta center build, so we only have the 83 defensive rebound. So to the people that are saying, oh, that's not enough, you're gonna get out snagged by these other centers, understand you're 7'3". Understand this is a Wemby build. Wemby's not a super crazy rebounder. He's just really good at rebounding because of his height, which is why we ended up going with just an 83. But now let's take a look at some of these defensive highlights. Listen, you might not get a crazy amount of chase down blocks when you're on this 7'3", but you are definitely going to get plenty of stops in the paint because of your height. And when you're sitting down in that painted area, you're going to get a crazy amount of blocks just because of your wingspan and your overall really good standing reach. I mean, look at this right here. We're blocking layups. I don't think I've ever gotten that block animation on any other build except for this one. And again, when you're in that paint, you're just going to be able to reach and grab blocks on so many other situations that you just normally wouldn't be able to. But yeah, no, so overall, this build is just going to be really, really good on that defensive end, and you're just going to be able to get a crazy amount of blocks just because of the reach that you have when you're guarding people in the painted area. And then one thing that we did mention while we were making this build is that this 7'3" build can get bronze interceptor, which is going to allow you to get some passing lane steals. Look at that right there. That's the thing too, is that since we have the bronze interceptor with an 8'1" wingspan on a 7'3", there are actually a lot of passing lanes that you can just get to on this build because of the range you have on this build. Yeah, no, overall, man, this build is going to be a menace on defense. And look at this. We blocked I think that was a floater animation. We ended up rising up and blocking it. If it was a floater animation, that is crazy. We blocked a floater on a 7'3" Wemby build. But again, man, build's going to be super solid on defense, and you're going to be getting some crazy blocks. All right, so now here's the build fully maxed out. And as you guys can see, the physicals down there, you're going to get a 72 strength, 75 vertical, 99 stam, 55 speed. You know, it's all just very standard stuff. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that if you try to make any modifications to this build, please understand that you should not lower the vertical at all. One, is going to help you get more blocks and rebounds, but secondly, when you do get those elite big man standing contact dunks, you're going to need a 75 vertical to unlock that. So if you do want to keep the elite big man standing dunks, you want to make sure you keep that 75 vertical because you're going to need that. Yeah, man, overall, I think this is just a perfectly balanced Victor Wembanyama build. I don't think you can honestly make a better version of this build at this height. And one thing I do want to mention very quickly is the speed on this build. Listen, 7'3" builds are very, very slow this year, much slower than they were last year. However, I still think they are serviceable. I think you're not going to have too many issues using them in like a 5v5 setting, whether you're playing rec or just some regular ranked pro-am. I'm not sure about using a 7'3" in like any of the higher levels of pro-am, like if you're playing in any leagues or anything. I don't know if a 7'3" would work, but I think if you're just playing the game casually, you want to make a Wemby build, you want to have a fun build, and you want to be at 7'3", this is the perfect build for you. But now, coming out of the My Player Builder, you're going to see we get the shades of Joel Embiid, Victor Wembanyama, and Chris Kaman. Come on, Kaman, come on. I'm a casual when it comes to basketball, so I'm not going to be really good when it comes to pronouncing these names. And you see we get the name inside the arc threat on this build. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. This was a very fun build to play on and make for this video, but that's it. I'm out, man. Peace.